Hello everybody, welcome back to what is now the second video. Here's an image of the first one if you'd like to watch that elsewhere on my channel. But what we did there was document what the garden originally looked like. Here's an image of it. And just to recap, this is the design that we're going to be working to, which was generated by Copilot. So started off by cutting down some trees that were in the way, later discovered that there were some baby birds nesting, so we didn't want to disturb them and had to concentrate on the opposite side of the garden. This was what I started with. I discovered no less than 13 tree stumps, which is always fun. Dug those out. Here's an example of some of the sizes of these that I had to remove. That took up most of the previous job. But then, yeah, dug some nice trenches ready for some block paving. And I did document how I put block paving in for borders, so you can follow along if you want to watch that video. I also painted my fences, again, with Cuprinol Urban Slate paint using my new sprayer. Put in some Buxus box plants and some lavender plants, so documented those and good cheap places to get hold of those as well. And then I also installed some relatively cheap garden lighting just to add a nice ambient hue. So the last bit was to lay some green carpet on the dirt. That looked really nice when it was all finished. This is basically where the last video finished. Following, showing you how I got there. And I'm going to kind of carry on where this one left off, if I'm honest. This is it in the daytime. And here you're going to see it when it's nighttime, which is really nice as well. So let's get back to it for part 2. So in the previous video, we concentrated on the right-hand side of the garden over here. On this video, I'd like to concentrate on the bottom. So just down here, this is the next stage and basically the contents of what you're about to watch. So the more of these pavers that I do, the quicker I am at doing them. Again, working to this back line, I'm finding it quite quick just to use the spirit level and just put it on in each direction. So as you'll see here, it's nice and straight that way, nice and straight that way, and also when I put it between the two, it's also level. It's very bad light here, sorry, but it is level. Basically, one little trick I've learned, if you do decide to do it the way I do it and use slab or slab layer as it's called, is to just put a little block just slightly further than one brick over to the side. The reason I do that is as soon as you wet this, as I'll show you here, it starts to basically pour to the sides. See how it's running? And without that brick, you're basically going to find that your material starts sliding over. So I just find that putting the brick there keeps it in place, and that helps massively. Also, I did have a question. Someone asked, did I use weed membrane on the previous bit? I did, I just didn't document it, but basically I've just been cutting long lengths and placing that over the gravel prior to putting the slab layer base down. So there is weed suppressant membrane there as well, just to help. But so far, as you can see, it is looking very, very nice. And I've just got to keep working all the way down. I'm going to do the corner in a minute once my new blade turns up, and only about 3 meters to go. So despite having very nice weather up until now, the skies are changing. I think we're about to have a thunderstorm. So before that happens, I'm just going to install some more of these. You'll recall that I got these on the previous side, which I'll show you here, basically just to hold the gravel back. I think they're going to be quite useful. So I bought another pack of 5 1 meter lengths, so a 5 meter strip, and I'll show you how we put these together, and if I remember, I'll link them in the description if you want to buy any of your own. The method for connecting these, there's basically a lip that goes into the opposite side on the next one, and we also have this which we have to push down on, and because it's steel, it's actually very tough. Like, you can't even do it with your finger, so I'm going to have to work out a way of doing that. But yeah, they're going to go together. I basically tend to line them up. As you see here, there's just 3 there connected, and then once they're in, it's easier than trying to put one in and then connect them with this weird system. So I'm going to do 4, I think 4, no, I've got 3 currently. That'll take us to here, and then on this one, because it's about to come out, I think I'm going to have to bend it. if you have a spirit level with a magnet on, it's very useful because obviously it will stick. So it's quite nice to be able to kind of balance that a bit better than if you were to do it without the magnet. So very simple, rubber mallet, tap it down, and I'm just going to hide this brow here. Once that's hidden, I think it'll look nice, and it'll still leave about 8 to 10 centimeters at the top to be able to hold the gravel back. And as usual, I used a spirit level to make sure it was perfect because I do love a spirit level. So I've got to the end here and just a bit unsure what to do because this is not, as you'll see, a right angle. It does come out more than a right angle, so I'm trying to work out a way of making this look smart. Now, one idea that I have had is to try and equally space that, let's say about there, and then if we can, perhaps get a brick in there that equally spaces and touches everywhere, and I can cut a piece out to go in there, a piece out to go in there, and a piece up there. The other option is to trim the sides here, move this forward, but then it makes a bigger gap at the back, and of course that won't be triangular perfectly. It's going to look a bit weird, so a bit stuck on what to do with this. I'm going to do some experimentation and see what I come up with. As I used an AI tool to design the garden, I thought, why not also use it to come up with an idea of how to join these two paver lines together with a nice professional corner when it's not a right angle. This was the prompt that I put into Copilot with a photo, and the design it came up with was crap. I'll be honest, we're not going to use this. That looks very unprofessional and kind of proves the point that AI isn't quite ready to take over the world. Yeah, back to the drawing board. Before anything, PPE. Coming back now to that steel lawn edging, and what I decided to do was just take some of the weed suppressant membrane, just cut a long strip of the roll and basically fold it in on itself and put it at the back. And I figured this would be a good way of stopping the gravel falling down the back there and also allow for drainage. So very simply took some gravel just to hold it in place because of the weight of the bricks. And this would also help to prevent any weeds growing up the back of the metal. So once that was done, very simply, case of getting some more gravel from elsewhere in the garden and putting it on the top and raking it out so that it was nice and level with the top. Finally, for this part, I just got some kiln-dried sand and used that to fill all of the gaps, which just makes the bricks a little bit more solid because there's less room for them to move. Now, some people will use polymeric sand for this, which is even better as a product. I didn't think I actually needed polymeric sand because there is weed suppressant membrane not only underneath the bricks, but also behind them, as you just saw. So there's less chance of any weeds actually growing through this. I just thought it would be much cheaper to do it with a bag of sand instead of polymeric, which is about 15 quid for a bag instead. Next job was to paint the fence. I used Cuprinol Urban Slate paint as we did on the first video, just to make it look nice and fresh. My original plan, having painted the fence and put these screens on, was to re-utilise this plant which was behind me and plant some more, just like we did over here. I've just gone to dig a little hole and I found two things. Number one is a cable, which is very badly placed by the previous homeowner. They've just thrown gravel over it. It's not even attached to anything, which is great. Also, I cut through the membrane. That's concrete, guys. they've literally just placed it over concrete. We can't put plants in there, so I got to think outside the box a little bit. I don't think we're going to be doing any digging there. So I think what we're going to have to do is use some of those pots. I've got pots over here with loads of different things in. Either buy some new pots or utilise the pots that we've got. See if I can find some matching ones or something. And again, I would like to keep it symmetrical. These boxes. I want one there. I want one over there, and then I wanted something colourful in the middle. And I don't think I can do that now without using pots. So it's always a way around it, but it's just annoying because that wasn't the plan. But you know, you work with what you've got. So to keep it looking symmetrical, that's what we're going to have to do next. I've been looking at this line. Now on the AI tool, it actually comes out this way and joins. In fact, on the picture, it joins kind of middle of the garden over there. So it will cut a huge chunk of grass out. Now I don't think I spent all that money and all that effort adding grass up here, which by the way is settling in very nicely. You can hardly see the line now, so it's coming in really nice. If I didn't do all that work to add nearly a metre of grass, to then take about 2 metres of grass off. So contrary to the AI design, which did suggest we go that way, I'm actually now thinking I should go that way. Retain as much of this beautiful grass as possible. I really enjoy grass. I really enjoy cutting my grass. Do it every week and I really don't mind doing it. So to lose all of this, I think would be such a shame. So like over there, instead of adding a little bit and then getting rid of loads, let's try and retain this. And I think I'm actually going to go that way and do something with it. We do have some of these plants which are the same as those there. These are new, they're just being established, but I think once they grow and we get them kind of this high, I think it'd be nice to have one there and one there. They're already in, they're growing, we've just got to kind of give them another 12 months or so. So I think we'll leave those there, and I think we're going to come this way. Right up to the corner of this temporary gate. That's just there to keep the dog out. So I think that's what we're going to do, guys. After about 5 hours of work, I took a small angled piece of paving to redirect the new line back on itself, as I said I would, and I'm really chuffed with how it came out. So despite looking lovely, it is still really bothering me that these are different colours. A new screen to replace this one, which is, as you can see, a darker grey than all of these. These are all the same, so is that one. That one's darker, just a different batch. So a new screen's about 90 quid. And you know this channel, we're all about doing stuff on a budget. So we've got to think of a way of making this look like that. And of course, thinking outside the box, we went to the Valspar Colour Mixing Centre at my local B&Q. I had to drag one of the screens with me in the car, but I got them to scan it and do me a tester pot, which was the perfect colour. So very simply, all I had to do then was prep the screen that needed a bit of paint on it. Started by sanding the whole thing down with some 100 grit sandpaper. And once I'd done that, I then used a roller to make this nice and even. I started off with the gloss roller, and I did end up actually changing it because I did 2 coats. Just made the finish much better, and yeah, it looked loads better at the end. And with that, look, easy fix. It only cost a £5. Beautiful. This is why I buy my plants from B&M. They're now £6.50. And these beautiful tall ones, although they need a good water, are now a £5. You won't find a price like that in a garden centre. So let's take advantage of some of these, shall we? So on this visit, I opted for 2 more of these beautiful box plants, £6.50 each, as you saw there. And I also picked up a couple of these pots as well, nice square ones, which are already anthracite. And being plastic, means they won't need to be treated, stained, etc. So using some of the gravel, which I've got plenty of, as you've probably noticed, put a little bit of a base in there. And then I also half filled each pot with some topsoil that I took out of the lawn, when you know, we put those pavers in earlier in the project. So nothing goes to waste if I can help it. The idea is to get the top of the plant pot level, and then pack it in at the sides as tightly as you can with compost. Just bought a bag of that for $5.99 at the same time. Once that's in nice and tight and there's very little air in there, you should be able to remove your plant and take it out of the pot that it comes in, and then you can just pop it straight back in the hole and it should fit ideally quite well. So once that was done, I got a little bit more of the compost just to fill any little gaps, level it off a little bit, and did that again on the other one as well. Finally, it was just a case of putting them into position. A note to you guys, don't water your plants until you've moved them into situ. You'll be surprised how much more weight you'll add by watering them. So get them into position and then water them. It'll save you pulling your back out. So here I am putting the first one in place. I decided to put them in line with the fence posts so that they didn't cover up any of those beautiful vector screens from Screen with Envy. So moved both of those existing pots out of the way. I did end up changing this little setup and opted for the one furthest to the left there to be swapped out for a small rose bush, which is quite meaningful to my wife. So we've put that in there instead with a blue pot. But yeah, really chuffed with how this side's coming along. Last stage was just another box of those warm white spots, which I got. I used them on the previous wall and they look fantastic. And it was just a case of wiring them in. I've actually set up on a smart plug, so I can activate these with my smart speaker in the house just by saying lights on, lights off. So that's really good. Hit the cable with some of the gravel, just a few centimeters so that it was out of sight. And then all I did was top up the gravel just to make sure that it was nice and level all the way across. So in keeping with the spacing, which I've measured out something like 1.85 meters between each one, I've started it over here, tried to space it out the same again, and it kind of works out level with the sides of each one of these screens. So we've done it there as well. This light here is a 6 bulb set. Previous one was 4. So yeah, I've put 4 there. The 5th one is there, and I haven't actually used the 6th one yet. I've just put it there for now. That'll probably end up here eventually when I work out what I'm going to be doing with this space over here. So young man, what do you think of our garden so far?
I think it's really good because it took like you a few weeks to do this side, and like it just took you like about 2 weeks to do this side.
Yeah, you like it though?
Yeah.
And what's going to be the best bit?
I think best bit is gonna be like at night time when it lights up.
Yeah, should we see what it looks like at night?
Yeah.
Cool. Bye, Xander.
Bye, have a good time.